on the low part of the walk at the moment. As you can see, there's been some snowfall overnight. This is Cairnlochan, and the quarry in front is Corrianlochan. I'll be going up that ridgy bit there, which is where I was actually exactly 1 week ago today with Dad, and 2 weeks before then, and 2 weeks before then. So it's nice in a short space of time to be seeing the environment in different ways. You know, strong winds, poor visibility, sunshine, good visibility, and now today high cloud but good visibility, and with a bit of the white stuff around. So it's really quite exciting, really quite something. Obviously safety is really important, which is why I've decided on this route, because the path that I might have been taking, that pardon me, I've not been up there before, and the top half of the path is covered in snow. Now I don't think it's very deep snow, but I've also never been up there, so I have no desire to find out the hard way that it's steeper than I thought. So it's just about being sensible, really. But that's okay. It's going to be a nice walk, I think, and the beauty of it is that at any point I can just turn around if needs be. Corrianlochan is just coming into view on the left, which I don't think, in all honesty, the camera's going to pick up in a meaningful way, but the flutes of the cliff, there's just these ridges and teeth. It's staggeringly beautiful. I just never fail to be amazed by seeing this sort of thing. But anyway, onwards and upwards. So here we go. So at the moment, I've been walking a little while, gaining height all the time. As you can hear, the wind is a nice breeze. I have to say I'm very thankful, because although, as you can see, I'm now on the snow line, I have actually been overheating, because lower down there was just no wind at all, and of course I'm generating all this heat and can't get it away. So I'm actually really pleased that there's a nice breeze again. You might be able to make out there's at least 4 people on the path ahead of me. Not sure where they're going. They might be going to Ben Macdui as well, or they might be going over Cairnlochan and doing the circuit to Cairngorm. But it's such a lovely day that it's nice to see that there's lots of other people out here making the most of it, and why not? It's lovely. You know, I pressed pardon me, I pressed record just then because I felt like there was something I needed to say, and I looked up, saw the view again, and well, it's no great exaggeration to just say that it's taken the words out of my mouth. Just it's no exaggeration to say I never ever thought I would be here. I thought that you know, my only exposure to things like this would be vicariously through other people's experiences, or you know, via things like the funicular, the gondolas, but never with my own legs. So that's quite something. And as well as that, it's amazing to look at Cairnlochan over there, and to be looking at the side of it, and to know that I've been up there with Dad. It's a shame that we didn't get to see the same view, but still a good achievement nonetheless, and I'm just thankful for this. And it's interesting looking across to the massive slab in the cliffs of Corra and Lochan, because there's like streaks running down it, and I'm guessing that's snowmelt, and it's sort of, I don't know, finding its way onto the slab and leaving a little defrosted track. Just a random little thing. Oh well. Just keep putting one foot forward, making good progress. When I first walked this path, it was cloudy, and visibility wasn't very good because it was cloudy. And so I didn't have the view that I've got now. And you can hopefully see from the camera that it's quite an impressive view. So down in this gap, that's the Lara Gru, the famous mountain pass. That huge massif there is Breiriach, which is the third tallest mountain in the country, and I have no desire to stop because I haven't stopped yet. So without checking the map, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the pointed peak over there is Cairn Tool, which would put Sgor and Lochan Waine slightly further to the right, but I'm not 100% sure because, as I say, I've never actually seen this view before. I've seen it from further around, further in front of me, but not from this position. But it's really quite something, and I'm pleased because at the moment, I'm making decent progress. The path is good underfoot. The snow is very, very thin, and for the vast majority, it's gravel underneath. The only slight problem I'm having, I think, a mixture of the cold and relatively high altitude, making my nose run. But that's a small price to pay. A small price to pay indeed. So I think at this point I've passed the halfway mark to Ben Macdui. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. So the first time for everything. I'm continuing on the plateau. The view remains mediocre at best, but it's quite nice because Ben Macdui is now in view, which is the massif that's in front of us, or in front of me. I don't think anyone's walking with me, but so it's nice to see it because, again, didn't actually get to see it properly when I was here first time. It's a shame in a way, a little bit like Ben Nevis. Ben Macdui is, certainly from this perspective, very much a sort of rounded lump of a mountain. But it certainly makes it less effort to get there. which I'm not complaining about today. I can see now, as the view has shifted, unless I am very much mistaken, which is always a possibility, that is Cairn Tool, Scoran Loch and Wine, Rariach. I might be wrong. Scoran Loch and Wine might still be tucked away in the corner there. But to be honest, it doesn't actually matter. I'm not going there. So I'm not going to be one of these people that walks up the wrong mountain and needs rescuing. Or am I? No, hopefully not. One curiosity is that because the temperature is just about freezing, I've actually had to take the camera off now and stow it under my fleece to keep it warm, because the battery is getting sapped by the cold. That's no great hardship, and I can charge it while I'm out, but I'm glad I noticed, because otherwise it would have been a bummer to go to use it and find that there's no charge left. Worse things have happened at sea though. So you can probably see in the distance, looking over towards Braemar, that there's a bit of rain falling, and there's a few bits further to the south as well. But overall, I can't believe, there's not a breath of wind. There's an occasional breeze. That's it. The visibility is good. The cloud is high, and I'm really hoping to just be able to push on. But we'll see. The one barrier that I'm mindful of is the wee boulder field, which is not particularly big. It's not particularly troublesome, but it'll be the thing above all that will turn me around, because if I have any doubts underfoot, I don't want to lose my footing there. There's a gentleman and his dog ahead of me, and their boot and paw prints are what I'm following. You might be able to just see them down on the path down there. The other walkers that were ahead of me did indeed turn left up Cairn Lochan, heading over the northern corries. And now, as I'm moving on, I can look to the left. The view is opening up, and the mountain that's just sort of there with the big tors sticking up, that's Ben Macdui, which basically sort of means the mountain in the middle, otherwise known as Malcolm to his friends. And God, that probably makes me sound old. There's probably quite a few people that would no longer get that reference, which is scary. And on that note, I'm going to just turn the camera off, I think. This particular part of the video is not necessarily particularly interesting, but for one thing, and that's I just can't believe how still it is. I'm walking along, tiny bit of crunch beneath your feet with the thin bit of snow, and for all intents and purposes, it just feels like you could be walking in your garden, unless you look, too much around you and see the mountains. There's just not a breath of wind at all, and stark contrast to both the first time I was here in particular and the last time I was on the plateau last week. It's quite amazing just how varied the weather could be, but I'm genuinely surprised that it is actually just still. That's caught me off guard, actually. I didn't expect that for a minute. But this particular part of the path is easy to make really good progress on. It's very solid underfoot, flat underfoot. There's no real gradient. I am going uphill. I've come down that bit and I'm coming up this part, but it's not steep, so you just make good progress. So much so I think I'm actually catching the person up in front, but we'll inevitably meet on the summit, or at least on the way back down. So yeah. As you can probably tell, unless you've got your eyes shut and you're not listening, conditions underfoot have changed. I'm at the boulder field now, so I've got the walking poles out just to help steady me. It's not actually too bad because for the most part the rocks, calling them boulders is a bit of a stretch, so it's actually quite easy, dare I say it, in these conditions at least, where you can still see the rocks, to find somewhere solid to plant your feet. And I am on the assumption that the walker in front of me is more experienced than I am. I am in essence following where he's trodden while making the final judgment call myself, but it's certainly slower going, but it's not too bad. It'd be different, as I say, if it was so snowy that you couldn't actually see the rocks. That's where I'm honestly not sure what it would be like to walk on, because you'd have no idea what was underfoot. But that's where the line is very quickly reached, or I absolutely would not be venturing out. This is quite enough for me as a novice, but I'm really glad that I've taken this opportunity, because in the grand scheme of things the weather couldn't be better. The conditions are snowy enough to be you probably just heard the change of tone of my voice, to be enough to really make me excited, but without being sort of a cause for panic or any great concern. So that's good. It means I'm having a whale of a time. And I'm actually learning new things as well. Second piece of the boulder field. I'm just smashing some ice because I'm a vandal and a horrible person, damaging Scotland's limited ice reserves. Slowed a little bit progress wise, still following the gentleman's tracks. Oh, this walking pole just got stuck in a rock because I'm just so strong that I punched a hole in rock. More accurately, it just got stuck in a gap between the rocks. One of the interesting things from a safety perspective in my mind about this walk is I feel safe, but I'm also acutely aware that this is a minor cold snap with no great quantity of anything really. It's not actually cold, well, within reason. There's been snow, but there's not really been snow, and yet that's all it's taken to markedly change conditions underfoot. And when you think that winter's a long season, and this is already different, it does highlight the importance of things like winter skills. Because if it was like this tonight and tomorrow, and by the end of the week there's going to be several inches of snow and ice, it'll be a completely different kettle of fish. So I'm glad that, as it's turned out, I've been able to be here today, because it's further highlighting the fact that once it gets much worse at all, the hills should probably rightly remain out of bounds unless you've got experience. And unfortunately, as I'm talking, it's just started raining, which is a bummer. I have to say though, before I turn the camera off, it's lovely looking around and seeing the dog's paw prints. He's probably having a whale of a time, or a dog of a time. That was terrible. Altitude does nothing for my sense of humour. So both stretches of the boulder field are well behind me, and I'm now on the steeper final part of the climb upwards to the summit. For the most part, the walk isn't actually particularly steep, but obviously at well over 4,000 foot high, you have to actually, gain that altitude somewhere. So naturally there are some steep bits, this being one of them. And again, the gentleman who's gone before me has provided me with a useful foundation of idea as to where to put my feet. And at the moment, said stranger hasn't led me astray. If he does and I fall over, I'll harass him on the way back down. That's the steepest part done, which I'm fairly pleased about. It wasn't too bad though. And now back on the slow, steady rise of the plateau. And I can either just see the summit cairn in the distance, or there's a person stood up there, I'm not sure which. My helpful stranger has made much better pace than me up the steep bit, but I'm not ashamed to say that I wasn't afraid to take it quite slowly. The views looking forward remain very pretty, but they don't sort of take your breath away. But you don't have to look very far to be amazed. it'll be very hard to pick out, but over yonder it's so clear. You can see Ben with us again. I forget exactly when I got to Cairngorm for the first time and saw Ben with us. I did measure the distance. I believe it was something like 53 miles, something like that. So the visibility, to be able to see it quite clearly and recognise it, is pretty good. Pretty good indeed. So it won't be too much longer now before the summit. I'm pleased to say, although I haven't been forcing myself not to stop, I was hoping to be able to reach the summit without stopping, which of course is what I managed the first time. And although I admit I have stopped to take photos, each of those stops has mainly been, for about 15 seconds or so. So I haven't really stopped. And if I remember rightly, the walk from the car park to the top was just over 5 miles. And obviously with lots of uphill, 5 miles or 8 kilometres, give or take, quite a long way. But I'm looking forward to getting to the top and having a bar of chocolate, a well-earned bar of chocolate. I'm now very nearly at the top. A wee bit out of breath, as you can hear. Very happily though. That's a big wind shelter, Ken, on the right there. And naturally, as we get into the summit, there's a bit of wind. Given that there's only one other place higher than this in the UK, there's not many windbreaks around this particular summit. And there, in the distance, is the summit again. The gentleman in the red off to the left. Take pictures at the top and a video when I've got my breath back. So about 6 hours. I'm actually quite looking forward to meeting the dog.